you are live.
Morning, and we are on the most incredible sunrise safari. It is beautiful out here this morning. It's about 24 degrees Celsius, so just over 70 Fahrenheit. There's not a cloud in the sky, and we have the most stunning sunrise on the way. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Dangerous Dave on camera. We have Gendry and Jamie on the other camera, and we have Geraldine and Louise in final control. Now, Mr. Tingana basically walked through camp last night, and I'm sure the Djuma cam aficionados would have heard him calling to his heart's content. We're on his tracks. Unfortunately, just before I went to bed, when I was listening, I do think he's probably passed through Djuma on his patrol last night, but we do have tracks. I will estimate these tracks from when I last heard him calling to be about 11 p.m. last night. And he's walking straight down Zoe's Road, and then I'm going to see if I'm right from my ears. I think he then cut further to the north and went back towards the gate. But let's stick on the tracks for now. It is going to be an absolutely beautiful morning. Hopefully we can keep our cat run going. If not, I shall be showing you lots of flowers and butterflies. But it is wonderful to be out at this time in the morning. And just a quick reminder before I forget, more than anything else, is that our times are changing tomorrow, and tomorrow is the 1st, so we will be going out half an hour later, and that's to avoid this deep darkness we're sitting in at the moment. So it is a little bit difficult to see tracks, and it is a little bit difficult to show you things in the dark, so we will be going out half an hour later. So in 1 second. On Eastern Standard Time, we're going out at midnight until 3 a.m. And on Pacific Time, we'll be going out from 9 p.m. to midnight. And that's for the sunrise safari, which we're on at the moment. And for the sunset safari, we'll be going out from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. If you're in the eastern part of the United States. And in the western part, we'll be going out from 6:30 a.m. till 9:30 a.m. So exciting times. And we definitely have sort of hit that summer-winter change. And we can feel the nip in the air in the mornings. And the clouds have dissipated. There's almost zero humidity. Fortunately, we still are enjoying the last few beastly hot days of summer. And I think today is going to be another one of them with not a cloud in the sky. But let's get going. Let's stop chatting. Let's get tracking. Sorry, I thought I heard something. Oh, Kevin. I think Connor the Carnivore. Kevin has been listening to the damn cam, and he said the best way to describe the sounds of last night was a buffalo fighting with a goose. Now, that is something I would like to see, Kevin. But I think the one sound we definitely heard last night on the damn cam would have been Tingana walking through, and he would have been rasping, so... But I think the sound you are describing, Kevin, is maybe impala ratting. So lots of snorting. I'm not even going to try attempt that. But probably impala ratting. And you know what, Kevin? There might have been a goose. It's very possible Egyptian goose would have sat there during the night and made some funny noises. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if those leopard tracks left the road, which I think they did. Sneaky Tingana. I'm going to keep checking in case they come back. I think he went into scent mark a bush before returning, and I'm pretty sure, there we go, he scent marked this termite mound. Now, I have seen them scent mark this very termite mound before, and a lot of leopards on their different routes have particular areas they're quite fond of urinating on. Now, it's been a few hours, so we're not getting that wonderful smell of buttered popcorn that we get when it's really fresh. So I think we're a few hours behind him. Hopefully we can catch up with him. I do have to go quite slowly to make sure I don't miss where the tracks leave the road, which I think I already have missed. No, he's still there. Dave, are you feeling lucky? Are we going to find this leopard?
I think it's going to be a special morning.
Ah, Dave thinks it's going to be a special morning. I agree with him. Snoop is just mentioning that the fact that Dave's thumb doesn't look that dangerous. But don't worry, the most dangerous thumb in the business will be returning from holiday today, and that is Brian Joubert. Dave's thumb will be going on holiday for the next 2 weeks. And I'm sure a lot of you will be very happy to know that Commander Bond, sometimes known as James or James Henry, will be back on drive this evening on the Sunset Safari. So you will be back to 3 of us. And where has this leopard gone? Sorry, I am so distracted while looking for tracks. But so James will be back on drive this evening, and so will Brian Joubert. Now, while we try to figure out exactly where this leopard's gone, I just want to show you that horizon quickly, and look at those colors. Isn't that magnificent? But while we continue to follow up on the tracks of Tingana, let's go say a good morning to Jamie.
And a very good morning to all of you across the world, and welcome to our sunrise safari. For those of you who are new to our safari, my name is Jamie, and I have Jean-Ray on camera with me this morning. And we are off while Brent goes searching for Tingana, the dominant male leopard in this area. And who knows, maybe even signs of the Nkuhumas coming back into this side of Djuma. I'm busy looking to see if I can find Karula. I've actually avoided the place where she had her kill last night. She was munching on a baby Inyala when I left her, but because she was on the ground and because it was dark, I didn't want to spotlight her, add any kind of distraction. So I left her alone to munch away at her dinner. Now I'm just checking very carefully along the pathway that she walked. So yesterday, she hadn't returned to her kill yesterday morning, and then at the start of yesterday's sunset safari. And I went back to check where she'd crossed out to go and feed her cubs in Little Gowrie, only to find tracks crossing right back in, straight over her previous set of cubs. So she walked a really direct set path towards her cubs and then back again. What I want to see now is if she's done the same thing during the night, if she's gone in that direction again, back towards where her cubs are. And it was phenomenal to watch her, because from where we had her at Treehouse Dam, and when I almost immediately lost her coming into this block, it was because she was moving so incredibly fast. She covered 1 kilometer in probably about 10 minutes, if not more. I mean, if not less. She just kept moving further and further ahead of us. I want to just see if that's what she's done. If I don't see any signs of her, then we will go back to where the kill was and just see if she's still around there. I don't think so, though. She only had half of the Inyala, or a third of the Inyala left. And it was a small Inyala. It was a young baby. And when we left her, she was tucking into it voraciously last night. We could hear the crunching and the chewing, even if we couldn't see her through the long grass and in the dark. The other option, of course, is that she heard Tingana calling, and she might have decided to wander across in his direction. It's a little bit unlikely, but it's a possibility. welcome to Shell Bell, who was watching on YouTube and was watching the dam camera before our safari started. And Shell Bell, you're wondering where we are in Africa. And the answer is we're in our own little portion of called Djuma and Arathusa game reserves, which falls into the Sabi Sands Reserve, which then in turn is open to the Greater Kruger National Park area in South Africa. Just up in the sort of almost in the northeastern corner of one of the most beautiful countries in the world. And the place that we're in is famous for, first of all, we're very close to where there is the highest lion density in Africa. That's just a little bit further to the east of us, around Satara in the Kruger National Park. And we're in a reserve that is famous for their amazing leopard sightings. So both Brent and myself this morning on a mission to see if we can't find you one of those beautiful cats. That being said, I know that there are some of you who will be pining for the hyena den. It's been a while since we've been there. So I will go and check that out at some point this morning as well, see if there's any sign of them being out and about. It just depends on how the morning goes. I'm yet to go out on a drive that has gone according to the plan that I had set in my mind as to what was going to happen. It is fairly impossible to plan out a drive and to have it go exactly the way you expected it to. For all we know, we could have a pack of wild dogs run across the road in front of us. Well, stump there. And find ourselves in a mad chase after them. Or Ava, you're saying, or a honey badger. And you wish we could see a honey badger. I also wish we could see a honey badger. It's been a little while since I've seen one of them. It's one of my favorite things about being out at this time in the morning in the bush is that you get to see all kinds of small and rare nocturnal animals like honey badgers, porcupines, civet, the genet that Brent spotted last night. All of those are distinct possibilities. I still haven't picked up on Karula's tracks around here. That doesn't mean she didn't walk this way though. And just to go back to Brent's large spotted genet sighting. Alright, let me just concentrate on looking and spotlighting and not driving Jandre and myself off the dam wall, which I'm sure Jandre would prefer not to do. Yes. TV Stain has just said that he watched the clip of the genet and had to Google what it was because they'd never heard of an animal like a genet before. It's a strange little creature. If I had to describe it in the simplest and probably evolutionarily wise inaccurate manner, I would describe it as a cross between a mongoose and a cat. That's sort of the impression that they give me. They are, of course, in their own separate family completely, known as the Viverids, the Viveridae family, and their closest relative being the civet. The Viverids, the mustelids, so the honey badgers, and the Herpestidae family, the mongoose family, all share some common link back to a common ancestor. They've got quite a few traits in common, even though they live completely different, have completely different social structures, come in totally different sizes. But they do have a link, and that link is made clear in the presence of an anal gland that works very similar to that of a skunk, not quite to the same degree, but when threatened they are capable of producing a foul and noxious smelling odor. I just want to check, this is where she walked yesterday, and I see her tracks, but they're yesterday's tracks. It was so much fun yesterday afternoon. As we were driving down, I turned around and said to Dave, these tracks are so fresh, I swear I can smell her. And I drove around one corner and she was standing right in the middle of the road. It was terribly convenient. wherever she may be, she didn't walk the same path that she did the night before last or yesterday afternoon. She's changed her route. Maybe she got distracted by water, maybe she got distracted by Tingana. Although leopards are solitary animals, they do occasionally encounter each other and connect for a little while before moving off. She wouldn't, of course, be mating with him at this stage, not with the cubs the age that they are. But she might have met up with him for a bit before moving off. Mike in Florida, Brent was busy describing the smell of leopard urine and comparing it to the smell of freshly buttered popcorn. And you were wondering what it is in the leopard's urine that makes it smell like that, since you've heard me saying before that I'm the only person that doesn't smell it. And Mike, I honestly don't know what it is about my sense of smell that I don't associate the smell of leopard urine with buttered popcorn, because I'm the only person I know that doesn't interpret it that way. Maybe there's just a slightly skewed nerve somewhere in my olfactory center in my brain that doesn't quite associate leopard urine with buttered popcorn. I don't know what it is. I've tried and I really have. I mean, I've watched leopard scent mark and then, which is a bit weird, drive up next to the bush and have a good sniff around it just to see if I can see what everybody's going on about when they talk about buttered popcorn. But I think I'm the one that's wrong, because it's not just Brent, it's everybody that I've spoken to smells it that way. So obviously I've just got a link in a nerve receptor cell somewhere that isn't functioning as it should in my interpretation or comparison. And I mean, it's not that I can't smell buttered popcorn. I know what buttered popcorn smells like. It's one of the best smells possible. I don't know what it is, but it's just one of those things that I've never put the two together and associated them. We've just driven past Treehouse Dam, and most of our regular viewers will have been shown the remainders of the tree house on the marula tree that would have overlooked Treehouse Dam. And Lael was wondering, has a leopard ever taken a kill up towards the tree house at Treehouse Dam? Probably. The tree is relatively suitably situated, and if you think about how long or how many opportunities there are every day, you probably find that yes, a leopard has definitely done that. Personally, I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't happened. I'm sure, and I wonder if any of our regular viewers have ever seen a carcass hoisted in the treehouse tree. I'd love to hear if you have. I love those little bits of reserve history. I've got her tracks coming out. Just want to check this junction very carefully for tracks going back in. It's right at that stage where the spotlight isn't doing too well. All right, I want to just hop out and double check, make sure I don't miss her tracks. While I do that, let's find out how Brent's going.
So we're still hot on the trail of Mr. Tingana. He left the road and he went off in a westerly direction. So we're just making sure he didn't double back. I'm quite confident he didn't. What I am hoping, fingers crossed, is that he has found something to stalk in that block, and that's why he left the road. I'm just double checking all the way through to the southern edge of our traverse, and then I'm going to head up the border between Arathusa and Djuma to see if he's crossed. And of course, if he's crossed into Arathusa, we will continue on the tracks. If not, fingers crossed, it means he's somewhere near the Balanites tree. There's a very big block. And when I refer to a block, it's just an area between the roads that doesn't have any main roads in it. But he does disappear into this block quite frequently, and there are a lot of animals in it. So there's a good chance maybe he was a bit more successful in his hunting last night. So we're just going to check a big loop around. If nothing, I'm going to go back to his last tracks and have a little stroll. Something has been sleeping in the road here, and it is not a big cat. It is a buffalo. That's a bit disappointing. A bit disappointing and very positive. So we are really hoping he's somewhere in this area behind us. And also in the area we're heading to at the moment, the Nkuhumas were found yesterday about 4 kilometers to the west of our boundary with Isibambili. And fingers crossed, and I'm feeling a little bit of a twitch in my leg that they've come back. So we will be searching for those as well, but we're going to try and stick on Mr. Tingana for now. And we need to find a cat today. We have to find a cat today. We need to keep it going, keep our streak going. If we find a cat today, it'll be 8 days on the trot so far. 7 days on the trot with big cats on either both or one of the safaris. And we are going to attempt, I don't want to jinx it, but we are going to attempt to break my record from last year, which was 29 days on the trot with big cats. Very exciting. I had to go on leave. I nearly didn't want to go on leave, so I didn't want to end my streak. But unfortunately it ended. So we're going to try to see if we can get close to that. But on my own little personal mission, and I know a lot of you guys have been involved in this, it's to see how many species of the order Carnivora we can possibly get on camera. And we added the large spotted genet last night. Wonderful view, a very quick view because we were following the leopard and we didn't want to keep the light on the genet, making him Tingana bait. But very, very exciting. So far on the live drives, there's about 23 different members of the order Carnivora that we can see here at Djuma. Now that's just hyena, and that is one of the order Carnivora. So far, I think we're sitting just over 10 members of the order Carnivora that we have managed to put on camera. We have, of course, the big scaries and easies, the lion, the leopard, the wild dog, the cheetah, and the hyena. Spotted hyena, not brown. I think I might do jumps of joy and do a jig if we ever spot a brown hyena. So we got 5 there. We got white-tailed mongoose, which is 6. We have African civet, which is 7. We have slender mongoose, 8. And we have serval, 9. Dwarf mongoose, 10. The large spotted genet, which is 11. So we got to 11 so far. We've got a few more to find. And as I said, this is definitely not a short-term project to try and get as many members of the order Carnivora on camera as possible. So 11, I think I might be missing 1. Kyle says that genet last night looks like a cross between a serval and a raccoon. To me, Kyle, it looked just like a genet. Fortunately, serval and raccoon, they don't crossbreed, so we don't have many hybrids of that ilk running around. But yes, quite often a genet is referred to as a genet cat, which is actually very incorrect. So a lot of people think it's part of the cat family. It's not. It's part of the Viviridae family. And now the Viviridae family holds quite a lot of different individuals, including civets and mongoose. So the best way to describe is it's sort of like a nocturnal mongoose, like a nocturnal slender mongoose, because it is generally a solitary beast. Now, I'm just going to have a quick chat with this vehicle who's coming past, and I'll tell you the strangest genet sighting I've ever had. Now, believe it or not, when I was growing up, we actually had a pet genet called Genevieve. She was a very sweet girl, quite fond of me, but I'll explain about that a little bit more in a second. Oh, Minja! Ah, Vugi!
Yeah.
How are you, Ranson?
Good.
What's up? Good, Nyamaza. I thought you were going to do my work for me. You say, I must go there, Ingwe, Zingala.
Hello, good.
Okay, thanks, Mpo.
Yeah.
Okay, were the Birmingham's your side last night?
Yeah, but they went inside there, Malamala.
They went to Malamala. Okay. Tingana lost in Konzo's here, but I think he's heading towards Arathusa. Yeah, I'm gonna check Triple M now. Last tracks are just in the block here.
Okay.
And Karula's got Nyama on the Djuma. But she's from the back forward for the
Where's
Mampimpan. Little Gary.
Oh, still there?
Yeah, then Konzo's going backwards and forwards.
Okay. But that's not another Mampimpan
For Shadow. Ganyin. Oh, okay. Okay. Nkomfo. Have a good morning. Don't get into trouble. Don't get lost.
Yeah.
There you go. Just a little morning meeting with Ransom. And update on the Birminghams. They have headed into the south. So out of the northern part of the Sabi Sands. Oh, it's busy this morning. Maybe the next car has seen something for us to look at. Oh, nice new Land Cruiser. Oh, hey.
Hey, Madum.
Minjan. Oh, got the tunes going, ne?
Yeah.
Any Nyamaza, good. I'm going for.
Yeah.
Drive safe. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Now, the wonderful thing about people in the bush is we all happy as Larry at 4 a.m. in the morning or 5 a.m. So we all are morning people. If you are not a morning person, you are going to suffer in the line of work that we do. Most of us have the fortunate thing is basically when our feet touch the ground, we're awake. Cameramen, not so much. They take a little bit of poking in the morning, especially Dangerous Dave, who's on camera with me today. But I even thought about purchasing a cattle prod to make them awake faster. A very good morning to Teresa, who's a first-time viewer. Great to have you on the back of the vehicle today, Teresa. And as you know, we are in search of the elusive leopard. But Teresa... Karula has left the property. She's gone back to where she's keeping the cubs. I will explain that, or I'll let Jamie explain that a little bit more. Sorry, let me just turn this down. But Teresa's wondering, how long have we been doing these safaris and what training is required? Well, Teresa, I personally have been involved in the live safari since February last year, but they have been running on and off since I think 2008. I might be wrong, but I think it's around there. But the current sort of version or season or whatever you would like to call it has been running every day since I think February or January last year. I joined in February, and in terms of training, it's a very interesting one. So most of us have been safari guides for quite a long time in different places. I have pretty much been in the bush my whole life. And I've grown up in safari lodges and basically on the back of a game drive vehicle. So I got my training from starting at about 4. But normally, of course, a certain level of competency is required. What's very interesting is that most times on a safari, we have wonderful guests coming from all over the world, but they don't normally stay for longer than 4 days. So the amazing thing about what we do is we have thousands of people that join us, not for 4 days, but for 4 weeks, 4 months, 4 years. They just keep coming back. It is great to have all of you guys on the back. And sorry, I'm just checking for tracks while I'm talking to you here, Teresa, just making sure we don't miss out on this leopard. And so there is definitely a certain level of training. And you'll find most of the live guides are pretty well qualified and well versed in the ways of the bush. And it is great to be able to do this and share our passion and our love and our knowledge of Africa with whoever's out there watching us. And for me, one of the most amazing things is this is actually live. So I can have a conversation with you through this camera, Teresa, and you, wherever you may be, will be sitting on the back of my game drive vehicle. So it is amazing that we're able to reach such a wide audience and spread the conservation word, so to speak, and at the same time show you some animals and have some fun. So while we keep checking for the tracks of this male leopard, let's go see what Jamie's got.
We've just stumbled across a bachelor herd of mature impala rams. I was hoping one of them sort of gave a really half-hearted chase of the other, and I was hoping maybe they'd show you some of their playful sparring behavior that they've been demonstrating over the last few weeks, the last few days rather. Unfortunately, it seems as though breakfast is a little bit more entertaining than chasing each other around at this time of the morning. We're coming up to the impala rutting season, so the impala breeding season. And as a result, the males have started to split more and more into these bachelor groups, with the breeding herds largely grouped together, groups of females and youngsters with 1 or 2 big rams in attendance. I'm just going to go back slightly just in case they do decide to chase each other around. We've got a better view. Come on, guys. Or is breakfast just more interesting? But yes, they're splitting into these bachelor herds and they're spending a lot of their time prepping for the rut so that their hormone levels have increased, making them slightly more aggressive, definitely making them noisier, as was heard on the Djuma Dam camera last night. And we're going to be hearing that more and more. But what that does is that the rise in hormones before the actual mating season, oh, I thought he was going to go for it there, will give them time to practice sparring with each other before they actually need to use those skills. So it builds up their form and allows them to practice their techniques. This guy does have a floppy left ear. That's interesting. I thought I was imagining it because, of course, oh no, it still kind of works. No, oh. There is something slightly wrong with it. It's a bit floppy, but he's still got quite a large degree of muscular control over it. Of course, antelope can redirect their ears in any which direction they want to, and completely independently of each other. So they can hear behind them and in front of them at the same time, and still determine exactly how far away the sound is, which direction it's coming from. So whilst he's still got a little bit of control over it, he can twitch it. Seems as though the muscle that runs along the top that holds it more upright is not as well developed or has been damaged in some way. Could even be from sparring. Off he goes. They're going to... No, he's just going for a little bit of a morning jog. Back to the rest of them. Now, I know that Brent gave you that update about Karula crossing back south. She didn't walk the exact same path that she did yesterday, but almost very close to walking that same path. She's gone back towards where her cubs are hidden on Little Gowrie. And so I think we will meander up towards the hyena den, find out if any of them are up and about just yet. Let's leave these impala to their breakfast, since they're not showing any sign of sparring, and see what other things we can find. John, are my headlights still on?
Yeah.
Cool, no problem. Just checking. Thought I was going crazy. My switch for my headlights has stopped working, which means that I have to ask the cameraman every now and again to either turn them on or turn them off. So a great deal of fly activity at the moment. I think they're already out this early in the morning. And thank you very much to Aaron. Aaron says that he is a long-term viewer. To go back to the conversation we had around Treehouse Dam and the question about whether or not we had ever seen a carcass in the tree where the treehouse used to be, Aaron tells me that he's a long-term viewer and that he does remember seeing a carcass in that tree at some point, which doesn't surprise me at all. Generally, leopards, when they hoist a kill, there's a couple of factors that they consider. So this is a general rule rather than an absolute, but they do tend to favor marula trees and jackalberries, and occasionally torchwoods or balanites trees. And the reason behind that, first of all, there's no thorns, so that makes total rational sense. You don't really want to be trying to drag your food up and then feed on it whilst playing dodge the thorn. Then at the same time, the marula trees and the jackalberries tend to, especially in summer, have a nice thick crown of dark leaves that will act as a way to hide the carcass from any prying eyes of vultures or any other birds of prey that might want to come and scavenge from it. So that marula tree that the treehouse is built on would probably have been a perfect spot for a leopard to hoist its kill. That being said, those are the general rules. If a leopard finds a convenient bush willow tree, for example, close to where their kill is, if the kill is particularly large and they don't feel like dragging it to a nearby appropriate tree, then they will hoist it in whatever they can. But I would say marulas would be the highest on the list, and then jackalberries. I think for yesterday, Karula hoisted her kill up into a tambueti tree, which was just happened to be the nearest, most convenient big tree. It was a jackalberry a bit further down the drainage line, but it didn't seem to be worth her while going all the way in that direction. And it served its purpose. It kept her kill safe for the 24 hours that she left it and went to go and feed her cubs. Safe from birds of prey, safe from hyena. So she picked a very good spot to pop that kill. Sorry, tracks from yesterday. It's amazing how attuned you get to tracks. Even where you know, I drove this road yesterday afternoon, I know her tracks are going up this way because I saw her walking up this road. And yet as soon as my brain sees a track, as soon as my eyes see a track, I immediately have to stop and investigate it. Which I suppose is a good thing, because you don't want to make the assumption that just because you know there are leopard tracks on this road, doesn't necessarily mean that it was the only leopard that walked down the road. Listening to the Game Drive comms, see what everybody's plan is and whether there's any updates from yesterday. Let's listen to Brent's updates about Tingana's tracks, whether or not they have crossed towards Arathusa. I think that might also be on the cards today. Okay, we appear to be having some sound issues, and it seems just investigate what's happening. While I try and fix this, let's go back over to Brent.
So we have been in the search of this male leopard, and we've done this big loop. And as I was heading back to where I last saw tracks, you've got to love it when a good plan comes together. And you can see he's walked straight down the road here. A little bit to the left there. There we go. There is tracks. So pretty convinced this is Tingana. Now let's see where he went from here. Just a quick update on other leopards out and about. Shadow and her cubs have been found this morning, and they are right on the edge of Arathusa. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering why we haven't been there, and it's just that the fact that those cubs are still very young. And sorry, one second, guys. Copy, Orbs. Yeah, I've just gotten Gonza now coming on Balanatis onto Impala Plains and heading northwest.
Okay, good.
And we will definitely go have a look at Shadow's cubs as soon as possible when they are able to climb trees. Hey, firm, Chris. So what happens with sightings like that is that if you happen to bump into them, then you do view them for a little bit. But to actively go, oh, look at that, Dave. And I know it's a very common bird, but it's just very pretty with that sky behind. And a little bit, there we go. No, up a bit, there we go, the one sitting on top. Those little Cape turtle doves, all fluffy in the cool morning. Isn't that sweet? Doing a bit of preening and prepping. Now, it's always good to sit and turn off the car every now and then. You never know what you might hear. I'll leave those turtle doves to get ready for their busy day of feeding on grass seeds. It's quite interesting now, the ground's got quite hard here, so I haven't seen where the tracks go. Let me just finish quickly on Shadow. So we will definitely go there as soon as the cubs are old enough to climb trees and we don't feel like we're putting too much pressure on it. So as I said, if we bump into those type of sightings, so we will view it, but then quite soon afterwards we will leave them and zone it. And it is absolutely excellent. We've got so many cubs about at the moment, and I cannot wait to spend some time with those little bundles of joy. So we're just checking very carefully here, see if, because he left the road up there, but I'm almost certain he's going to come back onto this road. So far, not yet, but the only tracks over there now are Wildebeest. Who knows, maybe he saw something to stalk. Dave, I hope you're checking for tree climbing impalas. Good man. What is that? Just checking that big tree there. That one there, just there's a funny silhouette. What is that? Is that just a funny looking branch? It is too. I got quite excited for a second, but it is just a funny looking branch. And Carl has picked up, well done, Carl. And I forgot. Now I have to start my list again on carnivores. So which ones? I think we've got to 11. What was it, Dave? 11 or 12? I think it was 11. Let's just do it quickly. Oh, we did get to 11. So we actually are on 13. So we have seen both blackback and side-striped jackal on the live safaris. So of course I have seen quite a few of them outside of safari time. But that doesn't count. I'm only counting the ones I get to share with you. just going to check a little bit down this road. If we don't have anything, I'm going to go back to where I saw the last of Tingana's tracks and just have a quick look so we can see which way he went. Fortunately, lions and leopards often walk down the road, and the road networks are designed. They are on big old animal paths, and the nicest thing about the big cats is they're often quite obliging. They don't really like dew, so they tend to walk down the road so they don't get wet paws and wet faces. So we've got 13 members of the order Carnivora, and it's going to be difficult to get the rest. And the ones we are missing so far, and I think some of them are going to be incredibly difficult to find. I mean, if we talk about Aardwolf, the last Aardwolf seen in the Sabi Sands was in the 1970s. But who knows, I feel I'm lucky enough that maybe we might be able to rectify that injustice. And so we are missing banded mongoose, which I have seen quite a few times off air. Go ahead, Orbs. 1 second, guys.
I'm not going to stop on power line heading north. Go around, check junction of Bridge Road.
Copy, thanks, Orbs. Can't see which way that Nkonzo went off from Balanites on Impala plans. I'm just checking towards the power lines on Impala Road. If no Nkonzo, I'll go back to last tracks.
I hope must be the same Nkonzo, I think, because they close the power line to the north. So I'm gonna check later on the next junction of Bridge Road.
Copy, thanks very much, Orbs. So Aubrey is helping me in following up with these leopard tracks, and it seems like he's cut straight north across here.
Yeah, this is from Ryan Line.
Lions down in the south, east. 1 second. Quite a long way away from our eastern boundary. So I was just saying, so the members of the order Carnivora that we still need to get is banded mongoose, which I actually have seen a couple of times. Not that common here without any major rivers or river systems. Can you think of any others, Dave? Let's test Dave now. So we've got 23 possible species, and we're sitting on 13. So
Give it a think.
banded mongoose is one. Another one that I would love to be the first person to catch on camera is the caracal, of course, which is a medium cat. It's sort of between a leopard and a serval. Very stocky, beautiful cat called the caracal. And African wildcat is another one. So that's 16. And we've mentioned Artful, 17. Where is that sitting in the tree? You see that sitting in the light there? Where are my binoculars? There they are. Down to the left. Oh, it flew. You're forgiven, but there was a pin-tailed wider. Oh, some magpie shrikes as well. That's what Dave found in the top of that tree. We'll just have a quick look while he's there. But there was also a pin-tailed wider. And there we go, there's a magpie shrike. Now this is a very aggressive...
Arrived on quarantine, and as we did, an African harrier hawk came flying past us, closely accompanied by a lilac-breasted roller that was intently dive-bombing it. And it's settled, trying to hide in this marula tree, and I'm hoping it might stay there. Let's get you a view first, so that you can see the bird I'm looking at. This is one of my favorite birds, personally. I find them incredibly interesting looking. The proportion of their heads to their bodies and that really beautiful stony grey colour. I think one of the things I enjoy the most is how difficult they are to actually get on camera. For some reason, this particular individual that hangs around here is so shy. Probably because every single little bird that sees it attempts to dive bomb it in some way. There are known nest raiders with double-jointed legs that can twist backwards completely. It doesn't make them terribly popular in the bird world. I'm going to try now. Just trying to think where would be the best point of view. I'm going to try a shuffle a little bit to the side. Let's see if we can't get a clearer shot of him. At the moment he's managing to stay hidden, avoid the attentions of the other little bird species. It's particularly drongos that go after harrier hawks. Drongos and lilac-breasted rollers. No, this isn't really going to work. See him there. Now, the previous view that we had, you could see the yellow face of the African harrier hawk, or the Djuma. Now, when they're particularly stressed, or when there's been some kind of competition with other individuals of the same species, that face flushes a bright red color. It is interesting to see. There's not that many birds that do that out here, and have such a clearly expressive response to stress. Okay, I think unfortunately that's going to be the extent of our view. I was hoping he might show you some of their acrobatics moving underneath and around tree branches, looking for various nests to raid. But to be honest, I think he or she is just enjoying the peace and tranquility that comes from having not been spotted by rollers and fork-tailed drongos and other birds that would be quite keen to chase him. I always think it's incredible how tiny little birds like a fork-tailed drongo, oh, there he goes. Immediately the squirrel going. Oh, and he's landed perfectly in a trunk there. I think I see, oh, yep, he's being mobbed again. Quick, let's see if we can get a view this side. Oh, he's flying again. Fork-tailed drongos have spotted him. And I've lost track. Can't see where he's gone. But it is amazing how the little bird species really enjoy, or really, oh, there he is. Perfect, that's what I wanted to see. The way that he's clinging onto the side of the tree. And gone again. Oh, and I'm just seeing fork-tailed drongos swooping in, and a starling as well joining in. You might even see that bright face flush. Not yet. This is a very cool sighting. See how the crest is up? So even though the face isn't flushed yet, this bird is a little bit upset with the attentions of the smaller birds. Oh, there we go. Awesome, Jean-Dre. Drongos swooping in. Awesome. Look at the starling making sure that it's moved away from any nest sites. Cool, man. Well done, Jean-Dre. Our brilliant cameraman at work. I'm going to look for one more view of this bird, depending, just because it's so fascinating to witness its behavior. And I can see it sitting in the apple leaf. But it's drawn the attention of all kinds of little birds in the air. Oh, there he goes again. Chandra, clear view. He's now accompanied by starlings, fork-tailed drongos, Doves have even joined in. He must be terribly unimpressed with life. Trying to find a nice, suitable roosting spot. There he goes, all the way back there. Well done, Jandre. The starlings are in hot pursuit. And off we go. And as we watched him flying off, we had a question about the wingspan of this particular bird. So it's one of the smaller raptor species. If I had to guess, and it would be a guess, probably about 3 foot, maybe a bit longer. Gary, you were wondering, I would guess close to maybe just over a meter. I'll double check for you in a moment as soon as I've got another view. It's not a large bird of prey, but it is a particularly attractive one. Oh, we're playing tree to tree, accompanied by a starling, escorted away from the area by a starling. There he goes. Well done, Jandre. Right. This is one of the last marula trees on quarantine clearing, so if he disappears from us now, then this will be our last view of him. This really hasn't been his morning, though, or her morning. Impossible to tell. I would love to know if this is the same harrier hawk that has a nest on Vulture's Nest Road in the middle of the reserve. Isn't it beautiful? And it will continue throughout the day to move from tree to tree. Now, just because they are specialized nest raiders, that doesn't mean that that is the only thing that they can hunt. So, although he will move from nest to nest and tree to tree, he could well also go after anything from rodents to snakes as well. I'm just trying to check for Gary exactly what the wingspan is. But for some reason I've forgotten how to use an index or how the alphabet works. Sorry, Gary. Bear with me 1 second. At least we've got a nice view of him to keep us occupied. Oh, for goodness sake. Why am I being so silly? Oh, there we go. I'm being very silly. So, Gary, you've only given me the height of the bird rather than the wingspan in this particular textbook or reference book. So it's about 2 feet in height, under a meter, 60 odd centimeters in height, 60 to 70. But my guess is that its wingspan is close to a meter, if not larger. You can hear the starling, how upset it is. Oh, even longer. Apparently its wingspan is actually over that. It is 1.5 meters. So what is that? That's 4 feet, 4.5 feet, the wingspan. It's actually bigger than I realized. So 1.5 meters wingspan, 5.2 feet. That's how large our bird is. And a grey hornbill, I was about to say, is going to join in the party of attempting to scare away this poor bird. I say poor bird, it is possibly a threat to every bird's offspring here in this area, which is why they all band together to chase it away. And I've noticed that specifically with harrier hawks, usually the drongos will dive bomb something like a snake eagle for a while and then get bored and fly off and leave it alone. With harrier hawks, the birds persist and persist and persist. Once it is spotted, and he's had it. He's off. Oh, Brent has found the leopard. Let's go to him.
So tracking has been successful, and we've managed to find Mr. Tingana. It looks like he has made a kill during the night, but you can see that dirt on his face, but I think he's probably lost it to hyenas, looking at his slightly nervous demeanor. So a wonderful track so far this morning. I do love finding my own animals. It's so much more rewarding than going to animals found by someone else. But there we go. Mr. Tingana. Oh, has he spotted something? He spotted something. Oh. As I said, it definitely looks like he made a kill. But it's very, very, very close. But quickly off to Jamie, who's also got something fascinating.
This is sorry to take you away from the leopard. We won't be gone long. This is just the most incredible sighting of a harrier hawk. It's found a nest that it's trying to get into, and the birds are desperately trying to defend it. Look how its crest is up. It keeps snapping its bill at every bird that comes past it. And there's clearly something in there that it wants. This is the first time I've ever managed to get this. Look, it's going right in. The hornbill's desperately dive bombing it. Could well be a grey hornbill nest. Trying to reach far enough inside. Look at how it's clinging upside down to that tree. You can hear the frantic whistles of the grey hornbills. I think it might be their nest. That was a roller that just dive bombed it. I just had to show you that. He hasn't been successful. Let's go back to the leopard.
Guys, he's busy stalking impala. Some impala just crossed the road. This is incredibly exciting. He's not very far from them. I'm just going to try and get us in a position where we can be in between him and the impala. Oh, he got spotted, silly Tingana. He definitely rushed that stalk. You got him? Listen to those impala. He rushed that. He was a little bit overeager. He ran down the road in the open and he got spotted. He's just looking a bit frustrated. I think he definitely lost a kill to hyenas last night. See, now look at this, tail up. The impala running right in front of him. There we go. So once he's been spotted, the game is sort of up. So when the leopard raises its tail like that, he's sort of admitting defeat. So I'm just going to pull off the road here so Aubrey can have a good look as well. He has been helping me track him. Listen to those impala. That one impala's got a very strange snort. Brr, brr. So he's got impala on either side of him, and since he's been spotted, he puts his tail up, sort of admits defeat. So I'm just going to let Aubrey jump ahead of me, so we're going to leapfrog him for now, taking turns in the front. Morning, morning. So he is heading towards our sort of northwestern corner. I am hoping that he doesn't disappear, but I think he actually is going to probably cross into Sibambili. This is his normal sort of route. And the streak continues, guys. So day 8 with big cats. Oh, those impala are mightily upset. But there's funny, you could definitely hear the one male had a very strange snort. It was a rather than a and he is going into quite a difficult block at the moment. I'm just going to try leap ahead of him for a bit and use one of my sneaky secret spots. So one of the best things about walking a lot, and I do love my tracking and walking, is that you learn there's little different gaps where you can access blocks which are sometimes a little bit more trying. And there we go. And this block is particularly difficult because of the elephants pushing down a lot of trees here. So you have to do quite a lot of zigging and zagging. And there's a beautiful little pan in here that I've actually found Mr. Tingana at on foot before. And I think he might stop for a drink, so we're just trying to get into position. And he is doing exactly that. He's drinking. So let's just sneak in here. He's having a drink. Oh, isn't this absolutely gorgeous? There we go. How's that for you, Dave? Magic, exactly, I agree. I'm just going to move a little bit further forward so Aubrey can also come in here. And let's get right opposite him while he's drinking. There we go. So we've got some... Oh, look at that. I hope you guys are getting some magnificent screenshots. I'm going to take a few pictures. So we can actually see that sort of dirt. It's not dirt around his face. I actually think it's stomach content. And I definitely think he's made a kill, but he was very close to the hyena den. And I think any noise, even those impala alarming that we just heard, might attract a hyena or three to come investigate. Couple of days. He is absolutely gorgeous. So isn't this amazing? Oh, look at his little tail, how it curls. A leopard's tail has almost got a life of its own. It is one of the most fascinating things to watch. So you can hear him lapping. I do apologize about the aeroplanes, but they are a necessary evil. They are flying low and checking our boundaries for poachers and whatnot. To O. who's a new viewer and is joining the Safari Live family. And Odot's asking, how can animals drink this water? It's completely filthy and dirty. Well, it's actually not that dirty, and it's just a little bit muddy and probably got about 20% elephant urine. But other than that, it's completely fine. I'm probably sure I could drink this water and be 100%. It just probably wouldn't taste too nice. Now, you must understand that we're the only animals that really drink crystal clean water or have a fascination with it, and they will have a lot of immunities to all sorts of things like Giardia and the stuff that affect us quite badly. And you would have found in the past we would have had good immunity to a lot of these diseases when we were also forced to drink out of pans like this. But the longer we stay in cities and purify everything, the less tough we get. Oh dear, he is going to go into a very difficult area for us to follow. We will try. I'm now just trying to think of a way to get around. Oh, he's a beautiful leopard. So Susan and Russell say he looks like he's walking a bit stiffly in his back end. Is he arthritic or does he have a bit of an injury? I noticed that yesterday on the Sunset Safari. I think he might be carrying a little bit of a bruise, and it's more than likely from hunting. He's probably got a kick from an impala that he grabbed. We are going to try to stay with him, but as you can see, this is a very challenging area to off-road in, but we will definitely attempt. Just going to have a quick chat with Orbs. Boy, you're going to try to go around. Okay, I'll try to stay with him. Let's think, how are we going to negotiate this very difficult area? Now, I'm not so worried about getting through it. I'm more worried about losing the cameraman. Occasionally we have cameramen sort of hanging like marionettes on thorn trees, but it's okay.
I'll be all right.
Yes, there we go. Dave says he'll be all right. He thinks it's worth the risk to stay with the leopard. While we try to keep up with him, ooh, I'm definitely not going through there, I'll get stuck. While we try to keep up with him and find a route through here, let's go back to Jamie, who's with the hunting harrier hawk.
Oh, this has been one of the most incredible harrier hawk sightings I think I've ever had. Oh, I know where he's gone. He's gone to that marula tree. We can get there. I've been watching him ever since you left us to go across to Tingana. It's just gathered more and more birds. Rollers, starlings, hornbills, doves are all having a go at this harrier hawk, and it's just determinedly moving from tree to tree to tree. It really truly is the most incredible harrier hawk sighting I think I've ever had. And this is so rare to see this in action, especially in this morning light where you can see all of the details perfectly. Oh, I hope we can catch up with him. I've learned so much from this sighting. There he is, I can see him. Just in terms of the way that harrier hawks go about their day-to-day business of nest raiding and checking each individual hole. Please don't fly back the other way. Please don't fly back the... Oh! There he goes. And every now and again, the birds dive bomb him, and he spreads that crest around his head and snaps his beak, or her beak. Oh, gone again. A game of catch-up with a harrier hawk is definitely not how I imagined I'd be spending my morning. And it's just a... Oh, there he goes again. And what's so incredible about the sighting is to see the behavior of the other birds. Oh, no. On to the next. The rollers, here they come. What's incredible to witness is the behavior of the other birds, the way that they dive bomb it. And it's an all for one, one for all kind of attitude, because if he doesn't find anything at your neighbor's nest, he will move on to yours. So all of the birds in the neighborhood coming out to see off the gangster. Go shuffle forward a bit. This truly is an extraordinary sighting. Kind of keep eyes in the back of my head here. Where is he? He's somewhere in this tree, or has he flown off? I think he's still in here. I can hear the rollers still fussing, so he must be somewhere here. Margaret, you were wondering, or you were saying, isn't this the bird that flushes its face from yellow to pinkish in color? Yes, it is that bird. But I'm confused. I think it must have escaped us, because all of the birds in the area are taking off that way rather than at the harrier hawk, or where I thought the harrier hawk was. I think we've lost him. How did he do that? Oh well, much longer sighting than I've ever managed to have before. You can hear the parrot screeching now. All of the birds are flying off to the north of where I am now. I can't see anything in the tree where I last had visual. Okay. Well, fair enough. It was an exceptionally extended period of time. Let's just go check Zoe's, just because I don't really want this sighting to be over. I have enjoyed it tremendously. Just judging by where all of the birds flew off to. Oh, there's even brown-headed parrots. They're almost impossible to... Well done, Gendre. That was a brown-headed parrot that was fluttering about, so even they are upset by the presence of the harrier hawk. I'm just checking carefully as I drive away that I haven't missed him somewhere, but I don't think so. There he goes. I got him. Still accompanied by his entourage of disgruntled birds. Stopping here, he's onto the next tree. Okay, he's not gone too far away. These birds getting closer and closer to actually pecking him. But not deterred, our harrier hawk, still intently raiding nests. It's the only bird of prey that you will really see cling onto the sides of the branches like this and hang upside down. Look at that predatory walk, stalking along the branches. Look, it's pink, it's flushed pink. With all of the harassment from the other birds, it has flushed pink. The yellow face is taking on a different hue. On one hand, I want to get closer. On the other, I want to just wait and see if he's going to fly again. Okay. Let's chance it. Let's go. He's found something. Isn't this incredible? Don't fly, don't fly, don't fly, don't fly. Look at how he's hanging. This is incredible. Oh, he's got it, he got it. He got a baby. We got something out of there. He definitely came out of that crack with something in its claw. Where is he gone? He's gone into this marine tree. Here he is. He's still clinging onto it. I think it's a baby bird. So hard to tell. And now he's going to try and find somewhere to feed on that in peace. Wow. Apparently the ladies in final control have been watching that on slow motion, and it looks as though it is a squirrel that he's managed to catch, a baby squirrel. Any closer and I think he's going to fly. He's still being dive bombed by the starlings. Just at a slightly wrong angle. I can see it dangling just at the bottom, and I think they're right. I think it is a squirrel. He's gone off in search of a better place to feed. This has been an incredible sighting. I've never seen a harrier hawk pull a baby squirrel out of a hole before. That's a first for me. I'm relatively certain it's going to be a first for most of you. I want to try and see. I think that this harrier hawk's... No, oh, there it goes. My mistake. It was still close. All right, it's gone into some very, very thick bush, and I don't think we're going to be able to keep up with it. I'll just have a look and see if there's another view. While I do that, and while I try to relocate it, the ladies in Final Control have actually prepared that slow-mo clip for you. So just have a look at how extraordinary this sighting really was. So definitely a squirrel, and it definitely made it worthwhile staying with that harrier hawk and watching that whole process unfolding. And we spoke about how the birds have been guarding so carefully their nests, and of course the poor squirrel was the one that got caught. Do you know, my initial thought, to be completely honest, when I saw that was bush baby, but it seems as though it was a squirrel. Distraction again from that extraordinary sighting, and I wonder if I can find a position where I can show you these tracks. I have a track quiz for you. Can you see those little tiny paw prints there, Jean-Andre? All right. This track, I'm going to jump out quickly for you. I say I'm going to jump out. I'm almost falling out at the angle that I'm at. So these tiny little tracks, and I wanted to get out to double check that I'm right, but I am. Perfect little paw prints without any claws showing. Perfect round paw prints and barely larger than the tip of my thumb. Now what on earth could that be? This is one I have never asked you before. Let's see if you can figure out which tiny little animal with perfectly round paw prints has walked along this road. And just look at the stride. That's the back left, that's the left side of the body. That's the right side of the body. And the left side of the body. Can you see that there, Jean-Andre? Perfect, thank you. And that's all the hint I'm going to give you. Let's see if anybody can get which particular creature left those tiny, tiny paw prints in the sand. Sure, what an exciting way to do a morning. And then for those of you who, we're going to do one last view of those tracks. For those of you who were talking about it, was Janine, who mentioned yesterday that she wanted to build up a collection of tracking tips, basically like a bird list, but with screenshots of the different tracks. This is a good example, and it's a track that we don't often see, so definitely worth getting a screenshot of that. Okay, well, I've got other things to find you. In the meantime, let's find out how Brent is getting on with his search for Tingana.
So Tingana managed to give us a slip in that very thick area. Just give me 1 second, sorry. Aubrey.
What?
Is Mala alarming close to the Buffelshoek boundary? And I've got Nkonzo going back north across the road.
Okay, cool.
Just heard him calling. I would say almost near where that dead tree is. And mean, here, squirrels alarming, we just heard impala alarming, and then once he got spotted and the impala started, he just decided, well, I've been spotted, I might as well make my presence well known with a little bit of a rasp. Okay, so Dave, eyes open. I guess he's in front of us here somewhere. I would guess around that dead tree is where we heard him calling from. But he's probably still on the move. Very upset squirrel, you can see him, but I must remember they're sitting high, so they can look quite far occasionally. Okay. Where are you, Mr. T? So the impala were alarming there, the squirrel were alarming there, so I think he's in between us and them. Where are you hiding? Impala still going at it. He has chosen one of the worst areas to try follow him in. There you go.